Howdy, y'all. Welcome to Sam's Whiskey Bar. I am Mr. Sam, and I'm glad you're here because I got something that I've been looking for 6 months. Stick around, see what I think. Glad you guys stuck around. As I said, I got something I've been looking for 6 months, and it's the RD1 Bourbon finished in Amberana. RD1 stands for Registered Distillery 1, I believe. I was in Kansas City this last weekend, picked this dude up. And I got to shout out Karan at Gomer South in KC, Missouri. I'll put the address, phone number, whatever, up here somewhere. So you guys that are in the Kansas City area can go check out Karan and the amazing selection of whiskey that he has. Thank you again, Karan. Anyways, to the bourbon. This RD1, Registered Distillery 1, they aren't the first registered distillery, but I think in Lexington they had a registered distillery number 1, and they're paying tribute to that in Lexington. I know that RD1 started in 2020 with a bourbon, maybe one other offering, and then they added 3 more. We're going to talk about the rye, or not the rye. I thought this was a rye when I first saw it. Don't let that green label fool you. It is a bourbon finished in Amberana. In 2020, they started this company, and they're sourcing their bourbon from Jacob Call. Jacob Call is the master distiller for Western Kentucky Distilling Company. He's also the master distiller, I found out, for RD1. So that makes sense. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird being a master distiller for 2 places. Found out that RD1 owns 49% of Western Kentucky Distilling, who's making this juice for them. So they're in Beaver Dam, Kentucky, something like that. Western Kentucky Distilling is. Yeah, and like I said, RD1 owns 49% of Western Kentucky Distilling, hence the reason they can source their whiskey pretty easy and use the same master distiller, Jacob Call. They barrel this for 4 to 6 years, and then they finish it. And with Amberana, I can't imagine that thing's even in there a month. If it's in there a month, I would be surprised. Hell, if it's in there a week, I would probably be surprised, depending on how they do it. I know they put staves through the bunghole, and from what I saw, they have a Amberana stave, and they drill a whole bunch of holes in this stave, just a long, thin stave, so they get more surface area, so it finishes faster, maybe? Don't know, with the Amberana. But I did do a fresh crack on this last night. I have a rule that I open new bottles that I haven't had within 24 hours, and I was getting close to my 24 hours, so I popped this dude, did a little fresh crack video real quick, and man, I got a flavor that just took me back to like childhood, maybe high school. You throw yourself that apple cinnamon instant oatmeal in the microwave just so you can get a little something in your stomach. This dude last night, and I haven't had a whiskey today, but this dude last night smelled like, and I believe tasted a little bit like, apple cinnamon oatmeal. Not as strong as the red line on the Amberana finish. They did a really good job finishing this thing. I'm going to see, I don't give a lot of notes very often, so I'm going to see if I can do that. Just because bourbon notes are a lot the same, but this is the Amberana, and it changes up a bourbon a lot. I got a very good bourbon nose going right into that on my first smell. Okay, there's the apple, but I'm not catching the cinnamon. That was a big time red, juicy, sweet apple smell. Definitely not getting any of the cinnamon or any of those flavors I would expect from the Amberana, stuff like nutmeg. Well, just from what I know about my other one and tasting this one last night, there were a few things I was surprised I didn't get. And the biggest thing that I was happy about was it's not an overpowering Amberana. They did this one. Ginger snap, gingerbread man. There's apple and like a dried fruit on the end. It's definitely a high rye. You get a nice peppery with that dried fruit on the end. Sorry if I'm chewing on my whiskey and you guys can hear that. That sucker's apple cinnamon pastry, man. That is an apple cinnamon pastry. A little ginger snap, a little cinnamon on the end. That rye spice kicks on the end with some fruit notes. Boy, it's changing too. I got a little nutmeg there. I know I said nutmeg earlier. I didn't know if I got that last night, but I got a little, like a spice cake / nutmeg on that sip. And that was after the apple cinnamon pastry or oatmeal or whatever you want to call it. It just smacks you in the nose and the mouth. Yeah, it's on the nose. That cinnamon's coming through a little bit on the nose now. Woo, baby, I like this one. I have looked for 6 months for this. Now, granted, I live in Hutchinson, Kansas. Just what a wonderful hunting experience to walk into one store, get to meet the owner, and just have a store full of stuff you've been looking for a year. I mean, it ticks me off a little bit that I hunt so hard around this area, and then I go to one store in Kansas City and find stuff I've been hunting for hard around here. But it is what it is, and it makes the find and the kill and the pop and the smell and the taste that much more special when you put that much time and effort into it and you're longing for it. Absence makes the heart grow fonder in your relationships, and you need to admit you might have a relationship with bourbon. I know I do. Most of the time, a very good relationship. Man, guys, I cannot say enough how much Apple Jack, like almost Apple Jack cereal, apple oatmeal, and apple cinnamon pastry. I mean, it is just all over the board with that, but there are some nutmegs, there's some spice cake. I can't say enough about this one. It's not something I'm going to drink every day. It's going to be a special deal. Okay, been drinking bourbon and whiskey or rye or whatever. I want to shock my palate up a little bit. Want something just a little bit different. And instead of going to a rum finish or something like that, I can just grab an Amarana finish and save my rum stuff. But I don't know. I might want to save this RD1. Ooh, buddy, this is a good one. Mr. Sam approved. Thank you guys for sticking around and listening to me ramble on about an Amarana finish bottle that I've been looking for forever. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, share, comment. It really helps a little guy like me out. And like I say, catch me next time. Appreciate you guys.